Okay, we're live, and now, really quickly, my friend, we're gonna do an audio test.
We're going live, like live. Okay.
We're live right now.
But you also are recording and gonna edit it later? Or no, just live.
Well, it'll save the video for me.
Okay, so you can use it to edit, right? Okay.
You love it?
Yeah, it's going.
It's going. Somebody, are you wired up right now?
Wired?
Wired up.
Wired up like how like
On edge, on edge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Hi, Dewey. Get a little bit closer to the
Are we
microphone.
live now?
Yes.
Like right now. Okay.
We're living right now. It's okay.
Okay.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Hi, good evening. We're here with Dewey Tron today doing a redo. It's been a month since
Why
the
do
last.
you have to redo? What is this not the first time?
Well, we had it last time, and
We
then
did?
we did, and then
Is there
I got to know
proof of that?
Dewey better. It's a,
Okay.
instead of stranger in front of me, I have Dewey Tron. I had the pleasure of speaking to him last time a month ago.
Wow,
But
that's how long ago it was.
it was like a month ago. It was before Thanksgiving.
Oh, before Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, it was before
Right, we're in
Thanksgiving.
December now.
Really quickly, I do want to give a shout out to Crescendo Studios.
Thank you, Crescendo, for providing some space.
Hey,
and
come
resources
closer,
for us to do
please.
this.
Yeah, come close. We're trying to get Dewey to come closer to the microphone.
Is it because your headphone
That's better.
monitoring is down, or is it actually the recording that's down?
Now it's better.
Oh, it is.
Now it's like, yeah.
But I have to hold it now. It's not staying. Look at this. Thanks, Crescendo.
Shout out to Crescendo Studios. We love you guys. And shout out to Bo and his Your Social Network crew for always showing us love at the Crescendo Studios. With that, I have the pleasure of having Dewey Tron with me. Dewey Tron is local art director of the Northern Virginia area who is struggling with the microphone.
Yeah,
Well, I thought it was.
I could pretend I'm holding it. It's like robot arm assisting me, so I don't have to put the full weight on my hand.
You're number 2, right? And it's still on full power.
Okay, there you go.
Oh,
How's
yes. Cross fingers.
Okay.
Cross
Just hold
fingers.
still. Don't move.
Cross fingers. Okay. Come a little bit. I still feel like
Even
I just.
closer. Really?
Can you hear
No,
yourself?
that's what I was testing earlier. It's just like yours is like way up and mine's like way down.
Down.
And then you just look at mine, it's like max. So I can't go any louder. I don't want to
Blast that.
unbalance all those monitors and all that. I don't know what's really the issue here. So
Should we
this
trade
is,
microphones?
This is from last time.
Should we trade
Sure, if
microphones?
you want. That's fine.
Give me that one.
Oh, like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. No, I don't. Okay, we'll have to stick closer now. Is that gonna work? Hold up.
Hello.
Oh, no, wait. This- All right, let's see. Like that. Is that gonna work for you?
Hey.
Wait, let go. It's gonna fall. It does fall. What do we do about that? Okay, we got this. Let's do it. There
Your
we go.
phone.
There you go. My phone. There. Okay. Now we
No.
cross mics.
No.
There. Problem solved.
How about now?
How do you feel about your volume?
I like my volume, but I don't like the way we're talking right now. It's like, hey, can you
Well,
hear
how about
me?
we make it more intimate? We'll just go with it. No,
Okay.
it's good. It's all good. Unless you want to watch us like struggle even longer.
What should we do?
How should we do it? Just keep going.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
You're
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like one of the videos I recorded.
Wait, but if you like this mic quality on my voice more, is what you're saying, or is it because you didn't like that my mic was dropping?
How do I sound good. I sound good on the mic.
Oh, okay, you sound good. Then I feel good about these.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you were
I
just like,
dislike
okay, so
my
now-
guest
now you
having a
have
problem.
This phone propping it up.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like leaning in. I feel like I'm talking to you. I'm not
Okay.
looking. I'm not looking.
It's like, hey, what are you doing over
Yeah, yeah. And you said it's a bit intimate. So with that, hey Dewey, so how was
Bye.
your Thanksgiving? That was where we last left off. It was like, hey, Thanksgiving's coming up. All right.
Thanksgiving for me, it was like partly non-existent because I have family I usually go to, but this year they're like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna go see someone else's in the family, someone else in the family that's willing to do Thanksgiving. It's
Okay.
like a whole like thing to do. Cook
Yeah.
the turkey, make all these things, get all
Yeah,
the things
yeah.
decorated, open the house, clean the house, all these different things
Mhm.
organized. So they were just done with that. So they went to another state. So I'm like, guess I'm not having Thanksgiving this year.
Oh, so you were like doing it solo. It was like
No, I didn't do anything.
yeah, you just had a day off.
It was disappointing because I sat around and like, damn it, I didn't get to have turkey or pie or casserole or any of those things. I'm like,
Oh,
I was like, I missed it. It's just like they're not going to do it anymore. So I'm going to have to like look for other family to like crash.
New Friendsgiving type of
Right.
thing.
Well, eventually there was a Friendsgiving that I went to, and we did the whole thing.
So you got all the calories. That
Oh. Wow.
you did. How did that happen?
I hit this button right here.
I
was just like kind of twiddling the table. I didn't realize.
And now that thing is off.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. End the stream?
Yeah.
Looks like your mic was unplugged. Why is that thing off?
This?
No, the camera is off. Look.
Yeah, turn it back on again. That was weird. Man, it's like everything that could go wrong does.
You know what could have happened? I think when you turned that off, the plug went off, you think?
Yeah, but you're back on. Was there anybody on the stream?
Some of my coworkers said they'll log in. My mom will sometimes log in.
Your mom and dad were there?
But yeah, but it's okay. I don't have a big following yet, so
It's okay.
it's a
They're
really
probably like, "Whoa, what happened?"
We're here. Do you want me to go online to make sure everything's okay?
I mean, if that's the method of how you're recording it, that's fine. I mean, if that's the method.
That's the live.
Oh, so you just did it.
That's live, yeah.
Okay, so we're back on.
Yeah.
But I don't hear anything.
Me neither. Oh, this thing went off.
Oh, okay.
Power.
Oh, okay. Hello? Check. 1, 2, 3. Check. Okay, I hear it again. You hear it?
Let's test this bad boy.
Okay.
Because that's gonna be our middle name. Testers. Mm-hmm.
Let me adjust this camera.
Hey.
We still get that first part of the show too? That's recorded? Or is this going to be a whole new different post?
No, it's the same one.
Still get that first part of the show too? It's still going.
It's going, yeah.
It's still going.
Yeah, and what I can do is I can download the video, crop out the f-ups, patch it up. I can do that if you want, or just leave it.
No, just leave it. I
Just
mean,
leave
people are
it
going to be
raw.
like, what's happened? This is
Leave it
gripping.
raw.
Why did they go dark?
We're back.
While I was talking, I was kind of like just like twiddling around the table. You know, you like fidget with things, and then I hit the power button.
Stop fidgeting, Dewey.
All right, let me.
I had no idea that his left hand was.
Well, don't put the power button right in front of me.
Oh my god.
I can't help myself.
Yeah, it was right there.
All right, let's see if we can turn it sideways so I don't touch it.
Hey, it was you
Uh-oh.
that wanted a.
What the heck? Wait, turn it on.
It looks like it says it's unplugged again. Is that right?
What's unplugged? It's live. Mic is muted.
Hold on, no, it's not. Hold on. This is a good beat. You hear that?
Yeah. Is that a trumpet or something, or is that somewhere?
I feel like I know this song. Is it a popular song?
I don't know this song. Are we still live?
Yes, my friend. I never cut it off. Is it a popular song?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed all that BSing. just
Well, it's
figuring out
part
how
of
to
the
figuring out how
roughness
to
and
make
the
us.
rawness is going to be part of the studio podcast life.
Yeah.
And when we were before we started Dewey, I wanted to clean up the table, but then Dewey said that,
No, it looks cool. There's an aesthetic to messy tables.
and I'm gonna give him that because he's the artist here.
Yeah, when you're in a band and you see everybody set up and everything's all like just convoluted explosion of just like all this gear, it looks cool.
I'm learning to be cool
Yeah.
in the art world, in the media world.
Just let it be, and then at the end you clean it up. Well, actually, there are people who are pretty elite that will probably criticize this, but like they like it like really really neat. Where cable management.
But it's like it's like ridiculous though because there is a million plugs that is quite necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could change the microphone out, but whatever.
No, we're good.
Okay,
Everything's
so
working. We have cross mics for some reason because
we figured it was more
and
intimate.
yours is held up by a phone.
By his phone. So this is as crazy as it gets. So your Thanksgiving, you still got the calories because that was a big one.
Yeah, sort of got the calories and the nappy.
The napping.
Yeah.
And it like sticks around for a couple more days. That feeling of
being like what sluggish. Maybe
all
maybe
that
you think they're drugging.
No,
the turkeys?
no, we're drugging ourselves. we're consuming all that, and it just had me thinking, God, because my sister and this time we had a vegetarian Thanksgiving.
Oh, what's that like?
Mac and cheese, a lot of cheese dishes.
Oh, okay.
So not vegan.
So you still have the same dishes, just no turkey.
Yeah, like my sister and my brother did the thing.
Huh.
There was
no fake turkey either?
No, not this time.
You don't like do a tofu thing and shape it into a dead turkey?
Maybe next year. That's not a bad idea. To like do like
fun.
an imitation meat type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there was pot pie, and it was really good. You know what was more that?
So you're vegetarian?
Yeah, I go off and on.
Okay.
And right now I'm off. It's been like a year and a half since 18.
Yeah, because I eat meat. That would be like.
It's kind of crazy.
Really strange to come into a Thanksgiving. It's like, where's the turkey? It's like that's like the headliner of the show.
That's the thing for you. Yeah. No. Well, for us, we treat it more like all right, let's dig in. It's dig in day. Calories don't count, but it does. But the spirit of sitting together. We use the nice dining table. We use the nice the
china.
Yeah.
And silverware.
Precisely. Stuff like that.
That's cool.
Who prepared for your Thanksgiving?
Who?
Yeah, because you said you went to a friend's over.
I have a friend. His name is Niccolo. He cooks a lot, and we all just brought our own thing. Yeah, Niccolo. He's
it was like a potluck style.
Kind of potluck. I mean, I brought the dessert, but he cooked everything, and I was just like, wow, this is a lot. Nobody else came. It was just me and him. It ended up being just like all this food just for us. It was crazy.
Oh
it was
my
like
gosh.
it was like this is like it's like a date now.
Was this? What did Nicola prepare everything? Nicola prepared everything, and it's more like the amount of work that takes to prepare a meal.
Yeah, it's a lot. But he's cooking like all the time anyway. I mean, he's very nice.
He appreciated your company, probably.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And like right before you were saying how like your family was like, no, you're on your own, and then
yeah, they don't do Thanksgiving. I don't do Christmas or Thanksgiving. I never had any of that growing up, really. So it's I always go to other friends
and they show you what's up.
Well, yeah, it's like, whoa, look at Christmas, look at these lights. It's like so cool. I don't get to have that at all at home.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you have your own family and stuff like that, you'll integrate that?
When I have my own family?
Well, like when you make your family. Well, I didn't know you have kids. I don't think you have kids.
I don't have kids.
Yeah. So when you move forward, when you have your kids and stuff like that.
If I have kids.
If you have kids. Dogs. Partner.
But, sure. Yeah, Christmas. Sure.
Do you think you'll integrate Christmas and Thanksgiving into?
I mean, I'll go to my mom's and set up a little tree for her just to be like, hey, look, something. She's like, that's too much to like have to manage. Like, then we're gonna have to take it down. I'm like, okay, Mom, it's just like I'm making it festive. It's your birthday too,
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do something. I mean, it is special to me growing up and seeing Christmas. It's just I didn't get to have it at home. It
Yeah.
was just like always at someone else's house.
Yeah. So you know what
Yeah,
the
like you see on the
socks, the
bus.
ornaments. You know the socks, like
Right.
so, like
Well, I
the
didn't understand any of that stuff. For me, the first exposure was I'm on the bus. We're going home from school, and it's like, whoa, look at that house. It's like a party. You see it. It's like,
yeah, all the lights,
you're in
all the
Las
lights.
Vegas. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did they do that? Oh, that's a cool house. And then I remember now this memory of sitting on the bus, like, I like that house. I like that house. I like that
Yeah,
house. And
people
you
go
just kept,
all out.
you
Yeah.
kept like, just pointing out these houses that are like,
There's some
well
neighborhoods that
decorated.
compete, and it
Yeah,
does. It does.
I see that
Yeah,
now.
it does look really nice. Um. So yeah, no, you were saying that you didn't have it at home, but you like. Did you ever have a friend who like taught you about the socks? Like, it's the same thing with with
Not like
honor.
anyone taught me. It's sort of like
You picked it up.
it's the feeling I get now thinking back on it. It was like the parents felt sorry for me that I didn't have Christmas, so they like kind of brought me over to like let's show them what it's like to be American.
Yeah, to do the
Do the tradition. They didn't really teach me. It was sort of just I'm there, do the games. There's trains running around. There's like things and games and
yeah.
things. So it was like fun. I just didn't think about it being taught to me. It was just sort of like exposure to it.
Yeah.
But there was I guess it was kind of embarrassing that my family never did anything. It's just I didn't get to do it.
I mean, it's
all
not,
my friends did it and I didn't.
It's not embarrassing per se.
Well, I felt
you did
that way.
You
I'm
felt
saying
that way,
because I didn't have anything at all.
Yeah. Do you guys have a festival that you look forward to in your family?
I mean, there's just like New Year's, but New Year's to us is like, at least my family, it's like a religious day, where everyone's like doing prayer rituals, like for like a week straight.
Okay.
Like New Year's is not one day; it's actually a series of days, and as the series of days progress, it turns into like more and more intense, like ritual, prayer, ancestor work, and things.
Yeah. Thinking of the ancestors.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Is your New Year's? It's not the same day as January 1st, is it? Or is it with the?
It's following the moon. So whenever the moon is full.
At that, in January.
Yeah. So we'll have the normal calendar, and in most Asian calendars in this flip style, they always have the moon calendar in there too.
Yeah. The Chinese
so
New
that
Year.
you know when to do certain things.
Yeah.
Usually it's on full moons and new moons. Kind of like the occult.
No. There's the Chinese
Low-key.
New Year. I know there's Losar, which is also like another New Year festival, but I don't know.
What is it?
Losar.
I don't know what that is.
It's like Tibetan New Year, but I don't know if it's the same time as the Chinese New Year. And then I know Nepalese people, we have our own New Year in April.
Well, a lot of other traditions follow the moon. It's just like, oh look, there's a sky.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's kind of a big full circle.
I mean,
look, it's going
the
away,
December 31st, Jan
So you
1st
can
is
just
like
see it.
it's just like, it's more of like the business, mainstream, main cultural type of. But I don't even want to say main culture because in China, January 1st is not the main culture.
No.
They
That's
have
like the Roman calendar, right?
There you
Roman
go, yeah.
clock. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, that's that calendar. Okay, so do you have any plans for New Year's? The Roman calendar.
No, I don't. Sometimes I'll just go out and I'll just randomly go to places where I know stuff's happening and just see people do stupid things.
Okay.
Like screaming and getting drunk. I don't know. I
the
don't.
New Year's Eve.
I don't really do that anymore, really. But I mean, there was a time when I just go out and see what people are doing. But
people watch.
People are just being drunk and crazy.
I like people watching. I like it. It's sometimes when you want your mind. I want my mind to stay engaged, but I don't want to really. Not 100%, just 20% battery type of. I just like to get to watch people.
Yeah, no, it is interesting to watch people because sometimes you're like, oh wow, that's not what I would have done, or like that's so different.
That's actually like
so
an
different to
activity.
see other
Yeah.
people being a certain way.
I think I was. I just was in New York in the past month since I saw you. I was there for a couple of days, and I think it was at a spot in Central Park where it was like you can enjoy activities like blank and people watching, and I was like, well, people watching is actually like a real activity.
Yeah. You go to the big parks. There's actually a channel on YouTube I follow. This guy, his name, I don't know if this channel's still active, but it's called Normal Bob Smith, and all he does is hang out at like I can't remember. It's like called something Square, Union Square or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Washington Union Park, maybe.
Yeah.
Did I make that up? There's a union.
It's a big, fountain there, and people hang around and congregate and just tourists sit around. But
It's like a
but he has
piazza.
a series that was really interesting. It was called like Confessions of a Peeper. Okay, and he gets into this weird world where like they're like, oh, there's a peeper right there, and let's like dissect his strategy. And the thing that's ironic is that he's a peeper, but he peeps the peeper. He's like watching them and studying them and
What are
filming
they
them.
peeping on?
Women, it's like these perverts, like. But he goes and dissects like their different methods of how they're like doing this in public and the audacity and how they're working together as a team. Sorry, it's going in a weird direction, but it was really fascinating to watch.
No, that is strange.
Yeah, and like people don't know.
The
And he'll
peeping tom, but
yeah,
like
it's
the
a
park
peeping tom.
version.
But he's like dissecting their mindset and how they think and how sometimes they're like subconsciously working together, like these perverts would just like congregate and they would like block each other to make it look like they're being casual or like pretend to talk on the phone, but really they're recording video.
Yeah.
So I thought it was educational because I was kind of studying a character, and that was providing like such a wealth of information to just watch people, but in another place. Even it's just like, and he'll have his commentary going, talking about how like, look at this guy, he's this type of peeper. He likes to get close. He likes to. Oh, he's hiding it inside of a bottle. Wow, look at this guy. Okay, I think I've had enough. Let's go talk to him and tell him like, hey, this is not okay for you to do. Get the f out of here.
Oh, and you confront them as well.
Yeah. But sometimes they'll just return, and then he has like nicknames for all of them. There's like all these different peepers that are.
Well, when you're people watching, you end up having like you kind of.
Well, they're regulars.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have nicknames, but yeah. And meanwhile, the people who are being peeped have no idea. And he'll go, "It's like, hey, this guy's peeping on you. He's been doing this for the last whatever."
Oh, that's
and it's
crazy.
like and then they'll do something about it.
Yeah. Okay. Have you've been to New York City?
Yeah, I have. It's a crazy energy there. It's very.
Well, what kind of world do you go there? Because do you go there for work and stuff? Because I feel like your world, would be a little bit different.
I've been there for work. It's usually very hectic, Just,
have you done projects up there?
Yeah, a few. Just little film projects and some photo shoots and things like that. But
in the outdoors or
both.
Dude, I tried something in Central Park and it was just way too. I like underestimate. Like
how busy it is.
No, how grand it is.
Oh, how big it is.
Are you trying
to space from what I saw on the map? I haven't been in it before though. But
get out of here, Central Park.
Never been to Central Park.
Where have you done your projects in New York? Because it's really difficult to grab the skyline or grab the city.
I did like a 48-hour thing in New York. It was like just at the hotel there and just along the street. And then, I did some other things where it was like photo shoots for like ads and things like that.
Yeah.
But
did you like well, I'll tell you what the problem I felt I had. I felt like my eyes can see so much, but when you're trying to grab it with your camera lens, it can't grab the grandness. You know what I mean? Because
I have a view about that too. When I shoot things like documentary style, having the variety is where you bring that grandness into like, when you see everything collected together. But like having the less is more, I think. Some people can debate me on that, but sometimes like showing the more focused like subjects rather than showing everything at once is actually somehow bigger.
No, I get that.
And yeah. But I always remember pick up shots to you'll have the big wide shot too, but usually those are like the payoffs, or you start with that and you kind of start to move in.
See,
but it really fills out the feeling of like this bigness when you look at the little things too.
Thanks for that pointer. Yeah. Can you share with everyone how long art has been part of your life? It's been molding. It's been molding from from being a director to putting together film and movies to putting together shots to just starting off as painting and stuff like that. So can you share with us when it started?
To go back. Well, I mean, for me, it was elementary school. I had a special program. I was put into the art enrichment program with this seemingly lottery elementary school that had a focus on Leonardo da Vinci. And they had this thing called the Da Vinci Project, where I didn't know till later it had like 7 Da Vinci principles, and they were just like doing it in a very subtle way, influencing us through that, and just I guess being identified to put into these programs where they just loaded a lot of art onto me, and like
Yeah.
experimented with all sorts. Like here's I remember wearing smocks a lot. There's this like smocks which are really just dress shirts, and we wore them inside out. Oh, wait, sorry, not inside out, but backwards.
Dress shirts like really long.
Like
Okay.
big giant dress
Mhm.
shirts. But I was a kid, so like they were huge on us. But we would just repurpose these dress shirts and you know wear them like as if they were aprons, and then we would just get paint and just paint all the time.
Yeah.
They gave us the weirdest one I gave last time. The example was like they gave us this, to me, a giant big fish. Maybe it wasn't that giant, but I was a kid, so it was huge.
It felt huge.
But then
Yeah.
they put that in paint, and like we started using it to make prints, and I'm like, this is super weird. I was very weirded out by it because I was like, I'm handling this giant dead body, and we're like painting with the body.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I wonder what their strategy was in terms of like imprinting young minds with all types of art. You know what I mean?
I didn't know it was art. I just thought like, all right, this is what you want me to do. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
here's stuff. Let's do it, and I just did.
Yeah.
And then they showed us Leonardo da Vinci. He's like, he's an artist. Look, he did this with pencil. Oh, look at he did this and made this invention. And
So that was mainly like sketch art and like
yeah,
painting
and
art.
just showing me that stuff over and over, just showing like art. I'm like, wow, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm into this.
And was
and-
it like later on, like secondary school, like high school, that you transitioned more into movies and moving?
Well,
would
I
that be, like,
really just
moving
wanted
art?
to be like the ultimate artist. Art for me was just so like.
What's the ultimate artist?
I mean, to me, after going through all these different arts, like, oh, I like doing this. Oh, I like doing this too. I like doing this. You have all these things that you like doing, but like, well, how do I put it together? I don't. I feel so almost like spread too thin here.
Okay.
And like, how am I supposed to get anything done? But then I got exposed to movies. Well, there was a point when I was exposed to music too. Music kind of like told a story in my head. It stirred my imagination into me being like going through this imagination that was creating through listening to the music, like a movie in my head. But then I saw movies and I'm like, wow, there's like so much packed in like an image that you can
Wow, yeah, that's what you
pick
think about.
apart and see on different layers and play with those ideas and use the music to
Yeah.
guide you through. And I just fell in love with movies when I started watching them and really getting that escape into the movies.
Yeah.
Where
I love that
it's like
advice
people
you gave
watching.
last time. Yeah.
But you're seeing it in a almost higher dimension, because it's like people watching is you're just watching people like from the outside. Sometimes you don't know what they're thinking. You can kind of guess what they're thinking, but here it's like you get really into their mind, and there's like you can watch as if you're a god, and that feeling to me was like amazing, to be able to jump around reality like you're God and see all these different perspectives.
Wow. I think that's one nice thing about people watching is if you pick the spot, you don't know who's going to enter that. Is it going to be a couple? Is it going to be a family? Is it going to be brothers, a bunch of guys? What are they going to fight?
Right.
There's that
Well, even if they're
randomness.
passing, you can still get a little blip, like a couple of sound
A
bites.
glimpse. Yes,
Yeah.
it's kind of like its own movie. You get a glimpse into their life just by people watching and picking a spot. Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna grab a cup.
Some water. All right, maybe I should get some water too. Starbucks water.
All these tech. Do you prefer? Do you have a preference in terms of? Do you like doing, especially like capturing art in terms of movies or in terms of just pictures? Do you have a preference if it has to be people versus nature versus like city? Versus like staging it.
There's no preference. I mean, me just discovering art and just realizing that it's also everywhere, and it's not just me making it. It's like everything is art. You look at something like microscopically enough, you start seeing like weird patterns and structures and things. It's like everywhere, and it started making me think about like how far can this go? When does it stop? It just keeps getting. The smaller you look or the larger you look, it keeps showing like some type of beauty, and it's like amazing. It almost drives me crazy.
I bet you struggle to like bring a project to a stop. You're like, all right, I gotta walk away now. It's good. Do you ever struggle with that? Or do you? Because I
Well,
feel like
from a professional point, yeah, done is good, but it's never done. I mean, that was
yeah,
something my teacher always said. It's like
yeah.
you have to let it go because you have a deadline. If you turn in
Mm-hmm.
late, you're gonna get
Yeah, yeah.
fired or whatever. But like with your own personal projects, I don't know. It's
It
hard
never.
sometimes
Yeah.
to like figure out what's the optimal path through this narrative. That's going to be the most effective. And then you watch other movies. I'm like, oh, that was so good. Now I need to restructure how this is told because I don't want to give away too much or play with it a little more so it's not so direct and spoon fed. It's like I like playing with those ideas.
Gotcha. So going from just being like you were saying, like kind of not scattered but being all over. There's so much that your art, that kind of art that you do, is spread out. How do you how do you bring it to a streamline so that it's more, it's more in a disciplined way. It's more you can present it in a more disciplined way so that it professionally benefits you. It's more streamlined. What kind of methods did you find yourself doing?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's a very big subjective question. I mean, it's just like
Because I'm sure it's like changed.
it's from my love of watching movies. Like when I started watching, I'm like, wow, this language is amazing. Like the way they presented it, and you start to collect different techniques and like styles and like all these different things that people have done, and that builds a database in your mind, and you're just in love with that, and then you just want to recreate those things to like maximize the impact of a moment, and then after that you have to start looking for like, well, what moment do you want to focus on? This whole room, you could look at anything in this room. It's like, what do you want to look at that's going to make this moment even more like embellished and grand than it is, or it could just be one angle, just looking at the whole room all at once, but if you like, we're talking and then we're slowly moving through like, oh, there's like, some bags like taken apart, oh, there, look at all these wires, and then like we come up to the screen and you see us on it, and then it lands on you talking into the microphone. I don't know, something like that would be more of a cinematic way of revealing a, somewhat of an ordinary scene.
Wow, yeah.
Because even though this could be a normal conversation, the way that we present this moment could make it more cinematic and exciting and mysterious.
Like this, yeah.
You're directing the pace and what people are going to look at, and you can make an ordinary thing seem extraordinary just by the way you move through it, the music is, the way you present it, the way it's edited. I mean, there's so many different levels of art. That's why I'm like crazy about movies, because it's like, I can use music, I can use like, my social art, I can use like my technical, way of framing the shot and moving the camera, and like, it takes it to a whole nother level. There's a magic about it that is why people go crazy for like movie stars and idols. I mean, it creates a certain bond in a way that could be very toxic too, but that's the power of what this media can do.
Even the movies, because I know music, I definitely feel like in music, but
music,
you're saying even movies can create, and even the people present in that particular moment that they're trying to create.
Yeah, no, everyone plays together in a certain way, and even what they're doing in acting, like the editing could completely change the way that whole thing was presented based on how it was timed and what you're looking at what exact time. You're creating an experience, like
that experience,
like here's like a scary moment coming to a movie. It's like, oh, it's getting quiet, the music is dimming down. It's like, oh, and then the person is moving slowly, and there are not so many cuts, and then boom, something pops out, and everyone gets scared. And then now the music is going fast. You see what I mean? Like you're really curating this experience for people.
I guess because you're creating an artificial moment, and you have to kind of convince people that it's not.
Yeah. But there's, I mean, any filmmaker, you're just living life, and you want to convey the feeling that you have when you're like touched by something. Like.
Yeah.
Sometimes the things that are going on in your head doesn't look like anything to anyone else. You could just be walking, but the way that you're going through it in your mind, that's how the camera could be moving in a way to be able to
are you walking,
manifest
looking
those
up
thoughts.
are you walking, looking up, like at the buildings? Are you walking, looking at how your feet's placing itself?
Or even narration, the way the music is, or just focusing on the sound of the feet.
Fast? Ah, the sound
or
of your feet.
just the
Yeah.
sound of the city, or just hearing narration. There's so many different choices for how you're
Gotcha.
going to move through that scene.
I guess that kind of can be like life as well. Like
Yeah.
at whatever phase you are in life, what part of your life are you gonna like focus on? Are you focusing on your introspection of like where you are in life? Are you focusing on how crappy it's going, how good it's going,
Yeah.
the kind of people that are around you? Right? You can kind of take
Yeah,
that
that's the more interesting thing, because on the
the lens
surface
of
it's
your
just like,
life.
oh, there's a person sitting in a chair. That's it. But everything that you just said there, that's what we could be hearing too as an audience, just through his thoughts, the narration. So you get a whole nother dimension of people watching. You're seeing their mind, and it's like you're like getting the psychic perception into their mind, and you see things in a completely different
Dude,
perspective
that's
that you
yeah.
may learn from.
I mean, I guess I watched enough movies to know it. Directors have been doing that, but what a challenge that is.
Yeah.
Do you still paint, or you just like
I still
more
draw.
to
Like every once in a while I'll grab a pencil and I'll just start drawing, and it's like, whoa, again, I still got it. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
think it goes away, but it just doesn't, and it's still
It's like
there.
at the tip of your.
I did have a scare though, right before graduating art school. Like I got hit by a car on my bicycle and like broke my right arm.
Oh, no.
I mean, it was a fracture, but it really hurt.
And
And I was like,
you.
and I was like an artist. And I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? It's just like it devastated me that I couldn't do my project. I was like an animation, 3D and 2D also artist. So it's like, how am I gonna do anything? I can't even move. My arm's in a cast. So
So
it kind of made me have to think about doing something else. So that's how I got into photography. I just set up things and then like started looking at it a little differently. It's like, oh man, I feel like I'm cheating because I'm not drawing everything, creating it from scratch. I'm like just stealing reality everywhere, And
that's
now
how you
I
felt
can
initially.
manipulate it in a way. It's like, and then I started finding that this could be an interesting art in itself too. Like I could manipulate the way these sequences go together and how, that's how I got into movies. I'm like, oh, wow, this is more than just a drawing. Drawing is cool too, but it's like a lot of thinking, a lot of precision, and
Yeah.
you know,
Well, that's actually a really healthy attitude you took upon this kind of like tragedy that happened, right?
yeah.
Because
But I had to adapt and
it could have
survive.
like been your block, it could have been your wall.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about walls. You're like, hey, what do you?
But this is like a pure example because I
Yeah.
didn't realize you had you had injured your right hand, which is
Yeah,
your working hand, and then you took that wall and you kind of made it
It's like, well, I still got a left hand.
and a mind and a
Right.
mind, yeah, to be able
And
and then your intelligence
yeah,
and like
sure.
I guess
Thanks.
more of all is like your spirit and your motivation to like to get that thing going.
I didn't want to stop. I just felt like there's so much happening. I just felt like what is it? Like you know what FOMO is?
Fear of missing
The
out.
fear of missing out. So I was like, oh man, there's stuff happening. This is exciting. I like, what am I gonna do? I can't. It's like, okay, camera, and then I just started taking pictures and just like.
Did you go into like a phase where you just fell down, like you were just kind of I can't, like you know what, not depressed, but in a way.
Oh yeah, it was very depressing. I remember like right after getting out of the hospital or waking up and seeing the ceiling. I'm like, oh crap, what happened? And I don't remember. I just remember like waking up in the hospital.
Oh, no,
like
yeah.
I was on the road on my bicycle, and in the next moment I'm like looking at the ceiling. I'm like, whoa, what happened?
That's pretty, yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty
it's really hard for me to deal with the idea. Like I couldn't remember if it was my fault or was it their fault. Like what happened? I want to know at least the last
bad.
moment.
You were by yourself.
I was by myself. I don't remember anything.
How you
Just-
got to how who called 911?
Yeah, like no information came through, and it's just like, yeah, who called 911? How did I end up in the hospital? Like, did they?
Good Samaritan.
What happened to me?
Yeah.
And I'm in a completely different. It's like teleporting. I like, where am I?
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling to lose all that time and memory of
And then
what happened.
your family and your peoples found out.
Yeah, but I thought they would feel bad for me, but they didn't. They were
It's
just
like,
like,
Dewey,
you're like,
what were you
what?
doing on that bicycle?
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
You were speeding.
you know how expensive this is gonna be,
Oh.
and like,
yeah.
you're ruining us, and you're about to graduate. What the hell are you gonna do now? I'm like, it was actually that was the thing that was depressing me because they were just like coming down on me so hard. But I mean, I guess I can understand their, frustration with the moment. But
Graduate
it's just like,
from high school or graduate
no, from
college?
art school,
From
college.
art school.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Do you think it's like a form of like love, but a different type of like tough
I don't
love?
know. I don't know. I guess for them, it's like we invested a lot of money, so it's like this could potentially screw everything up. And I'm like, okay, I can get that. But still, it's not what I want to hear when I wake up. It's been like, oh, are you okay? You know, that's what I was
From
hoping
almost like
for.
being blackout, right?
Yeah, but it's just like, the F is wrong with you? Do you understand what this? I'm like, what? Hey. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
what happened? How did I get here?
Yeah. Um, do you speak Vietnamese at home?
I do.
They speak to you in Vietnamese.
But
Okay.
sometimes I'll like get into deeper topics and I'm like, all right. I just quit speaking Vietnamese and just get into the English and just go fast and like, this is what I'm talking about
Oh,
here.
you speak Vietnamese slowly.
I do. It's more basic things, you know, like basic communication. It's, you know, like simple actions.
Like, can you
and,
understand a Vietnamese politician speaking Vietnamese? That's like for me because I can't. I'm unable to understand.
Yeah,
That's
no,
that's because they use big words.
yeah, they use big words, you
Or
know.
like a
And my
professor.
dad will listen to like the radio sometimes. I'm like, oh my god, I can't understand like 90% of it.
Yeah.
It's like it's so high level vocabulary that I'm just like, I don't understand.
That's when you know. I mean, that's not the only type of Vietnamese because I'm sure you could like.
But I can speak enough, you know, and I did go to
Precisely.
school for it. My parents like sent me through school,
Good
and
for them.
I did better than the kids who were born there. I was the only student.
You cared more. You feel.
My parents spoke it to me growing up, and then they put on these movies. I actually learned to speak Vietnamese better through watching the movies that were being translated into Vietnamese. Like they would have voice actors. You know, like you watch anime, there's like a voice actor.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, this is how Americans sound. You just think that that's how it sounds. But I didn't find out till later when I went to Vietnam. Was like people were like, "Oh, are you Chinese?" I'm like, "No, I'm Vietnamese."
Why did
They're like, "You have a Chinese accent." I'm like, "I do." They're like, "Well, you said it like this," and then when they said it to me, I'm like, "Oh, that's how the movies say it." So I learned the movie's accent, and that's how my Vietnamese sounds. I sound like
That's
a
what they
Chinese
told
person
you. Yeah.
speaking Vietnamese from like their Hollywood movies.
Yeah. So how do you think your Vietnamese is? You think
It's basic. Just like, hey, you know, where's the bathroom? Oh yeah, this is good. Oh, you're cool. You know.
can you
It's
like
I need to go here. Here's this much money. I just, you know, it's more basic getting by communication. It's not like I can start speaking poetry or something.
what about like working with colleagues?
No, I can't.
A little bit, yeah.
That's too much. I ran into other Vietnamese kids and they were like getting really frustrated with me because I was like hitting a
Oh,
wall with how I can communicate with them, and I was just like, I don't know what to say. I can't. I can, you know, I can think very advanced about it, but it's like I can't communicate to you because
yeah.
I don't know the word for that.
Yeah. Is there any other foreign language that you speak?
No.
Okay.
Maybe a little tiny bit of Spanish, but like I don't, not that much at all. It's just like, you know, I took a class or something, but
Yeah.
I didn't get that far.
Gotcha. How many times have you been back to Vietnam? You were born here,
I was born here.
but your family kind of made sure that you kind of
Yeah. My dad really made it a point to like teach me Vietnamese, and then you know there would be movies to entertain us while we were kids, and they would speak Vietnamese, so I can kind of pick it up through there. I've been there maybe like 3 or 4 times, but
Your adult life or as a kid?
like in my 20s, you know.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
That's a good time because that's
And and spent like the second half of it, like, you know, like I stayed for like 2 months, and then the second half of the month
that's
I
a
stayed
really
in the
good-
country where there was like almost nothing. It was very, very basic living, like you're camping, but it's like luxury camping with people who are like nature pros.
Meaning,
Like they're living on a farm, they know how to live off
Oh,
the
like
land.
that's
very
their-
basic, you
that's
know,
their,
like you can trust that they know what they're doing in this
Yeah.
very, very sparse like resource environment.
do they wear those? Oh, I'm gonna ask you because I've seen the pictures. The big hats, you know,
Yeah, sure. I mean,
because they're on the rice field, right?
not always. I mean, my family had a different type of farm. I mean, they had banana trees and like, you know, maybe mangoes and something else, you know.
Yeah. Is
some
it
fruits
always
that we-
warm over there? in Vietnam?
Yeah, it's always warm.
Thai
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah,
Vietnam
and
too,
like
right?
humid. There's no, and super rainy, like the monsoon stuff.
Think of a forest Gump, you know, because then it rained and it rained and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
rained some
yeah,
more.
Mhm.
Okay, but hey, 20s is a good time to go back, and 2 months, dude, that's really good.
Yeah, just get like an immersive experience just to like get in it. But you know, people really schooled me on like, oh, they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from,
They knew you were American.
like Vietnamese, but they're like American. They're like, oh, you're not that type of Vietnamese. The word that I use, they're like, you're this type. It's like, it means outsider Vietnamese. I'm like, oh, okay. So there's like, yeah, next time address yourself as outsider Vietnamese because that's they can hear it in your accent right away. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, thanks. And then I when I was asked like, oh, where are you from? Because people hear me and they're like, they're curious. I was like, oh, I'm outside Vietnamese. He's like, no, 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 no. You're actually outside Vietnamese. So there's like another word for the people even further out. So I'm like, oh man.
You're like, how about you just label me whatever you want, okay?
It's like,
Yeah.
then there was a point when I didn't even speak, and then like I came up to this guy because I had to communicate with him. He's like, "Whoa, you speak Vietnamese?" I'm like, "Yeah, Vietnamese." Like, I didn't. You're so light. I'm like, okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Did that bug you? How
It
they
did
look at
bug
skin
me.
color?
I mean, people were being very nice to me, but it was like strange, and they kept like remarking, like, "They were so light." I'm like, okay.
Were they much darker than you?
Yeah, well, some people are, or like the girls are usually light too, and people in Vietnam. What I learned is like they're wearing these really long gloves and masks and things to cover themselves to stay pale, because to them like the pale skin is like a sign of like status because you can afford to not be in
Being
the field.
sun.
Right.
Yeah, not be in the field.
Yeah. But when I was in China, they were wearing all this stuff to protect themselves against the smog and stuff. So it's like same look, different purpose. So
Yeah, and here, looking pale is like not the cool.
yeah, they do the opposite, which
Yeah.
is like, oh, I gotta
Culture,
go get a tan,
man. Culture. Give me a second, okay? I'm gonna check if we're still okay with the audio because I'm
Okay.
paranoid.
Man, we're just going on a tangent. Are you cool where we're going? You wanna?
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, it's just a casual conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm getting stuff like um the themes that I hit at Preach with Prak is sort of or how you overcome life, how you stay motivated, how is discipline, and you kind of you're like through your life journey you're giving me that. You know what I mean? You're giving our viewers that. Cause like when you're a hand,
Right. Yeah, I still pushed through.
It was a turning point. It was a turning point. Dude, what was China like?
I don't want to talk about that.
What?
Because like I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh,
It was a
man.
weird place. It's
Okay, wait. Did you go to mainland China?
Yeah, well, I went to like the southern tip of China, but
Which is what? Hong Kong? Oh God, my math is so.
Hong Kong was
Is
still.
Hong Kong considered southern tip?
Well, yes, it is, but like it was still.
My geography.
It was still separate from China at the time when I went there, and then there was another part that's the other southern part of the tip because Hong Kong's considered almost like another country, separate from China.
Oh.
It was under like British rule, so they had like more, I guess, liberty. It was like being in New York. You're like in Chinatown, but like Chinatown's everywhere. That's how it felt.
Yeah,
but Chinatown in New York is like one block.
Okay, but you were in mainland China, not Hong Kong.
Yeah, it was just strange because it was like.
Was it part of the same trip?
Part of the same trip, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going through all out Asia in that trip, and then the last month I just stayed in Vietnam with my family on the farm.
Yeah. Oh man.
Just to like, all right, I need to get humble.
No,
Live with less and live with less and there you go.
We gotta figure this out next time, man.
Yeah, maybe we'll sit over there.
Last time I don't remember being so with this microphone.
Well, I figured it out last time to like get it, but it was like I had to play a trick on it or something, or I rerouted the cables and I did all sorts of other things. I don't know.
This time the cable was partially set up in the beginning.
Yeah. Anyway, just in Asia, it was just.
You did the Southeast, so you did like Laos.
No, I just went to like
Thailand,
Bangkok, and some island war country. I went to Hong Kong. I went to Vietnam.
Yeah. The dollar goes a long way, in those.
It does.
Yeah.
It's way more expensive now than it was before. It was like 15,000 Vietnamese dollars was like equal to $1.
$1, yeah.
But a bowl of like soup or something would be 15,000. So it's really just $1 still. It's like relative, but well, not really relative. It was actually very cheap. But now the prices are probably different. It's like
but maybe it's like más o menos, still somewhat,
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't been back in a while. Not since COVID. I haven't really traveled very much
since COVID. Is it because you think? Are you being cautious because
I don't know. Just there's all sorts of shifts everywhere, and I just felt like
the moon hasn't aligned. The planet hasn't aligned yet.
There's just so many things to mind here that I haven't really put my mind to like. Oh, let's take a 15-hour flight to Vietnam. Well, there's also drama with the family over there too, because like I visited them and stayed with them for a few times, and weird things happened that I just don't. I just have a bad feeling. There's a lot of things that have happened, pretty extreme things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Someone passed away on one of the last time I went there.
While you were there. Oh, okay. Okay. Somebody special.
Uh, uh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So it turned out to be your travel journey took a different turn.
Yeah, no, it imprinted some weird memories, but it happened. But like, I'm just going through it. I'm fine.
You're still going. You're still going through.
No,
it,
I'm not
yeah,
going
yeah.
through it anymore. But I'm just saying like that was the last time I went to Asia. But like, I just haven't made the time. There's just like too many other things going on, and I just don't feel like dealing with it right now. Just like focus on
Is it
like
like for me like?
work.
Is it like Narnia? You know, where like they go into the closet and there's a different world. They gotta deal with the drama there, and then they come out of the. You know the movie Chronicles of Narnia?
I haven't actually seen it.
But
I
do you
know
know,
I
like,
should. But yeah, they go into the wardrobe, right? Into
and
this
then
other
there's a whole
reality.
different like drama they gotta deal with. You know,
Yeah.
there's like there's a war there, there's a what, and then they come out of the closet and they gotta deal with this world where there's a different drama going on. So it's kind of
Like when I
like
go there, I usually stay with family. They know the place, and they trust them to take me places and things. But then it became like something else, and it was like very toxic. So I just felt like, why do I want to go there? I don't have anybody I really know unless it's my family, and it's just like it'd just be too much of an extra effort to just like
yeah
guide myself through a tour or something. It just seemed like
yeah.
I just didn't feel like having to deal with it.
Well,
It's
I guess it's
not what I'm
not
interested
yet.
in at the
Yeah,
moment. Not
yeah,
yet,
not
I
yet.
guess. But I have family there, but it just became like weird. They were like going through my stuff, taking things, and like
You were no longer like an outsider. You were becoming family, and that's what
Well,
family does, right?
no, I was still an outsider, but that's where I felt like they were exploiting me and like taking advantage of me and things. It's like, oh, you're from America, they give us money. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
I don't
that's
want
a
to. I don't.
that's a
I'm
common
in
one.
debt. I have credit cards to pay off.
They
I
don't
have a
get
car.
that.
Yeah,
They
it's like,
just
yeah,
feel
you're
like
rich though. I'm like, no, I'm not. I just came out of school. I have like debt. I have to
Yeah,
pay.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
they don't get
it's
that, but they just keep coming at you, and then if you don't, then they just start, you know, gossiping about you in a negative way, and then just then how do you come back into that room with everyone like thinking that you did something you didn't do? And it's just like I didn't do that. That's a rumor that someone else spread because they were, butthurt about like not getting what they want.
yeah. Maybe like a couple more years and you'll miss them. You know?
No.
No, it was pretty
I
bad.
have a weird family. It's there's a
No,
lot of
that's like
people who are, this is why like even like the whole Christmas thing is like when all family come together, but for me it's like we never really got along, and we never had an event that brought us together like that.
Yeah.
And it just sort of like, well, that's just what it is.
Well, I kind of like, when I was younger, I thought Christmas, family comes together, it's a great time, and especially when I was coming out of college. But then, like in my 20s, I saw that sometimes people really dread that moment.
Yeah, they
They're
do
like,
dread
oh
it.
God. And then, like, I'm seeing a lot right now. It's like time for the holidays. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, self care. And I just
Right, different political opinions is like probably the drama that's been happening lately with people. It's like just canceling other family members.
okay, yeah, and then you think holidays is this great time, but then now the other side of the holidays is coming up. It's like, oh
Right.
God,
Well,
gotta
I see it on
spend
TV. I can't say for myself that's my experience because again, I never really had it.
yeah,
I would see it from other families that I would visit. My American family friends.
yeah.
And like maybe there's drama, but generally it's just everyone comes together. We eat good. We all just like, sit in front of the TV, watch like the Super Bowl or something, and just. It's just like that.
You like
tradition.
that? You like?
I mean,
yeah.
It was just a thing. I don't know. I mean, I liked it. It was better than nothing. Because at home there was nothing happening. We just didn't do any of it.
But you do the New Year rituals.
I mean, I would go ride my bike out and go look for some fireworks to catch. Go run somewhere and find an event.
Yeah. No, but I mean like the ritual that your family does.
Ritual? You mean the Asian Chinese New Year?
The
Right,
stuff
right.
the stuff that you guys do.
Lunar Year. Oh yeah, but that's not really like a party. It's not like a big family gathering in that way. It's just like everyone's being extra. Like the way I see people when they're at church, like, hey, behave. Oh, don't say that. God's watching or something. It's just like it's almost like that type of feel, and you're just in prayer to the ancestors.
Okay, and that's one of the
And
big
that's
ones.
it. I mean, there may be like you may go out, you might see one of those dragon dances, with the drums and stuff. That's
It's a little
exciting.
bit more
Or like the
serious. Yeah.
firecrackers, but like that's like one day, and then after that, the days that come after that for the whole week, you're just praying.
And
So
any other holidays?
it's very very like
Structure,
Buddhist temple type
Ah,
environment.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very like I don't know,
No, I get the
kind
idea.
of
It's a
this
little bit more serious.
like serious feel. Yeah,
What about any other holidays where you guys like get boogie with it?
there are none for me.
And that's just been the experience, right?
Yeah,
Growing
like I've
up,
never
yeah.
had holidays growing up. It was always like, no, that's what the Americans do. I'm like, I want to do that. But I had friends. I would go to their houses.
Luckily, yeah.
But
I invite you.
um, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
didn't have that growing up. I had to create these things. Like I would hear the music. I think that was always the thing that made Christmas for me is just hearing the music. I would look out the window and I was like, I think I see Rudolph. Like I'll see like a star blink. It's like I thought I saw that star blink red. I'm pretty sure that's Rudolph. Like that's the way I was thinking. And I was just like always hoping that they would come to my house and give me presents.
That's so wild. And you were born here, right?
Yeah.
You were born here, raised here. But the home that you're raised in.
Well, it was also.
And it's not like Christmas is an American thing, but it's so much into our culture, man.
Well, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, it's like not only did I not have Christmas, the last topic of our conversation was that actually I lived in a very abusive household.
Yeah.
So like, not only was it no holidays, it's like I'm getting like bullied by my father in the house, and
not specifically during the holidays.
I mean, I don't remember, but I mean, it could be. It's just like, hey, how come they get to do this and we don't? I'm a kid. I don't know any better.
And he's like,
but it's like disrespectful to even say that. It's just like, maybe we didn't have very much, but I didn't see it that way. I just thought like, well, why don't we get to do this either? But it's like, we don't have a lot of money is really the truth. We have to work really hard, and it's like can't afford that. Which is maybe what I discovered later on, but it's just like for me, I just like, man, this sucks.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Thinking about it, I guess with Christmas you gotta exchange gifts, and in order for you to exchange gifts, you gotta have some money.
Yeah, but I didn't think of it that way then. You're a
Because
kid.
you didn't know,
You're just like,
you just
they have cool stuff. Why don't we have cool stuff? It's just like
the lights. I can think
Yeah,
like
the
from your
lights and
parents'
decoration.
perspective, it's like, oh, the electricity.
well, they have to work extra. I'm sure during those times. And it's
Yeah.
just like for me, it's like, hey, how come I don't get to do anything? It's like we can't.
Yeah.
So,
Your dad was in the military, right?
yeah.
He was, and he brought that home with him.
Yeah, he did. So, I eventually learned to forgive him through it, just learning about his story. But the entire time growing up, it's just like, why are you treating me this way? It's like you keep telling me you love me, but you're beating up on me and talking down at me and telling me how much I suck and all this stuff and just negative, coming at me. And I'm like, I don't understand. So eventually, I just ran away from home. He basically kept introducing that idea by kicking me out of the house, but really just the bluff to teach me a lesson. Like don't ever come back. You're not welcome back in this house. I'm like, and then I'm a little kid. I'm like crying. It's like, what am I gonna do? And then he would let me back in, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But then like eventually, when I got older, I was just like, wow, he's doing it again. It's like, well, I never really considered actually never coming back again. Maybe I should this time. And so I actually decided to run away, and I started preparing my leave. I would actually sneak back into the window and just prepare all this stuff. But I'm a kid, and I'm like putting together all these things that are really not useful at all, but they just have some sort of sentimental value for me.
You're like, I'm gonna need that.
Like I'm gonna need
yeah.
my teddy bear.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna need this toy here. He's my guardian, and like, all right, I'm ready to go, hit the road. And so I went out like that, and like at the time I was bonding with my art teacher, and I was hoping that he would be able to save me, but like I went to his house, and it was just like, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, is this gonna work?
So you're a kid. How old is this?
Like
Teenager?
maybe like like early teens, maybe like 11, 12 or something.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
You have siblings?
I do, 2 younger brothers.
Yeah,
And they're both artists too, but they're not exactly following through with it into their line of work. My youngest brother is like very talented, but he's also like very He's like Asperger's or something. He's got that pull of genius, but his interaction with people can be strange sometimes.
Gotcha.
But I really respect how he's bloomed as an artist. I mean, really, really good.
Do you guys ever collaborate and do work together?
I'd like to, but he's just so different sometimes that we don't get along. But I do admire him. I just wish I could collaborate more, but it's just like, I don't know. Somehow we don't. But I do really support and respect his work a lot. I really am pretty inspired by him. I felt like, we were growing up and we all got bit by the same, like, wow, this is amazing. Movies are awesome. Let's get into that. Like, start animating our toys. We had a camera and do stop action and animate that. And then he eventually went to drawing and then creating entire worlds and stuff. And it's like amazing. I just wish that it can be showcased more in a way. But he's also into like really extreme subject matter. He's like the youngest brother, so I don't know. Sometimes his perception of things and taste things like super extreme to the point where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to show that. That's a little bit too much. But he is extremely talented.
That's nice of you to compliment him.
Yeah, no, I'm inspired by him. I just I don't know. I feel like I
It's
almost have to
strange
do
how, like,
my own thing because like somehow we don't quite work. I mean, doing animation is like it is a team effort, but it's like there's a lot that he specializes in that I don't do anymore, and it's only him that can do it. It's not like, I mean, if he were like storyboarding stuff with me and we collaborated on ideas with that, then yeah, maybe. But then, we just gotta juggle like making a living and how much time do you dedicate to your art because that doesn't pay any bills,
Yeah.
and it's very mentally intensive.
To give it like you to still have your 100%, yeah,
Right.
and also be part of the 9 to 5 or whatever.
And
Yeah.
pay your bills, and even just working in the industry itself, it's like you're taking jobs to pay the bills. I mean, even though you are using the same tools, a camera, microphone, all those things, editing, it can sometimes like really take a toll, and like you just want to like I just need to relax right now.
You like
because
overdose
it's, like,
on it.
It's overdose or just overworked in it to the point where, how do you maintain your passion even though you're using the same exact tools but for completely different
Well, how do you?
mediums?
Because you work as an artist
Yeah,
and
I
you also
do.
like it. So how do
I mean,
you?
it's just I just
How do you
feel
like love it and then like you're like okay it's work.
watch a movie, you watch something, it's like, wow, that moment really struck deep with me, or made an impact, and I feel like I have to tell
Get
a
back.
story, and I'll go and work on it.
So because like your work is art and then you're also like your release. Where you release where you wusa is also art. So how do you? Did you ever find yourself struggling with it, or you're just so submersed in an art world that it's like different shades of art for you? Where like work has its own different shade, its own different category, and you can if you're overdosed on work art, then you just switch over to the art that you like, which is your personal art, and then you gonna do you have a method in that way, or has it? You know what I mean? Does that make
That's
sense?
hard to say. As more time passes, you're just like keeping up with like paying bills and stuff, and things are getting more expensive. So it's like you get less and less time to dedicate to that. But however, I mean, people could you know not agree with me on this, but like I think with AI coming, I think it could be interesting to be able to
Collaborate
make more time for that and
Yeah.
create like you're directing. I mean, when you're directing, you're essentially giving a prompt to the actors and even the director of photography to create something that's interpreting what you're communicating. But it could get better to the point where it's like, oh wow, I can tell the story I want without limitations. I know that people feel like they're being displaced by these things, but
No,
the
yeah.
tools, you still have to use them.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people come up to me like, oh, what camera are you shooting with? I'm like, I mean, sometimes it kind of matters. You can get.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
The
just I
obsession with
feel
the camera.
I feel like they're asking the wrong question. It's like you're asking.
Tell us what should be the questions. Yeah.
Well, it's like you're asking the writers, like, oh, what kind of pen you're using? Like, if I get that pen, it will make me a better writer. It's just like, no,
wow,
it's just a
what an
tool.
analogy, bro.
It
Yeah,
is. I mean, I
love
use
it.
that one a lot because people are like, oh, what kind of camera? I'm like, well, I mean,
You could have a badass camera, but
yeah,
if you're unable to angle it to zoom, to work
right.
it.
And the tools
To
are
grab,
getting, smaller and faster and less impressive looking as we progress into the future. And the example the this is what we talked about in the podcast last time. I went to Warner Brothers Studio, and it was a partnership between them and AT&T, and we were shooting off in two teams. One team was standard cinema camera with crew and like lights and all that stuff, and then on our team it's like the cell phone team. So I was on the cell phone team, and so we shot everything on cell phone. And they gave us a Warner Brothers studio lot to shoot, so a nice background. And we were able to shoot something that people couldn't tell was shot on cell phone just because of how we composed it and moved it through the scene and directed the shots. And you know, as unimpressive as that is, that's going to be the future of filmmaking. That's going to be more accessible to everybody. Everyone has a phone. This is what the future is going to look like. It's going to look like the entire thing is just a viewfinder with a tiny little camera dot on there, you know, and you have every single focal length in there. Now you have to figure out how to frame the shot, understand the principles. The principles still hold up, you know, even though you have a thin little like, you know, tablet of a camera, not a giant camera with big lenses and like all these things.
Yeah, that sounds
You know,
good.
it's still just a tool. How are you going? What are you going to look at? What story do you want to tell? It's not like what tool are you using, what pen are you using?
Man,
Because if you have a
I
better
can't believe
pen,
you said
you'll
that.
write a better story. No, that's ridiculous. That's
No.
not how it works.
Or like sometimes I feel like even with beat make people who make beats, you know, you can have the most sophisticated technology, but if you don't have the to give that beat, it's all, you know what I mean. You could make beats, sure, but to give it that flavor, sometimes you
Yeah.
really need a life experience or a story or really the talent.
From that, yeah, the talent, the ear, you know, what's your taste? And even for me, like, well, I also do music, but it's just like I feel like the human touch is the thing that's missing because so much of it is like automated. You know, some people kind of geek out about the gear and the tone and things, but it's like you're leaving so much to automation that it loses the soul because you're not actually doing anything. Maybe you're putting in the scale, but it's so like repetitive. Not that repetition's bad, but like
Yeah.
you're not adding enough of your human touch. Some of those flaws sometimes is what brings it to
Yeah.
life. You know,
Yeah.
there's little, you know.
No, I feel like AI is is a tool that we can utilize, but I'm convinced that I doubt it can replace human creativity. The creativity
It
part.
needs our creativity in order to have
To
a
flourish.
model. You know,
Yeah.
they call it like, you know, what is it, like image models. You know, you're teaching it. You know, this is a picture of a human. This is a human walking. So then it sort of like starts to put these things together. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
to replace the face and make this body shape like this. Now it's a woman, you know, or whatever. Or now it's a child. You know,
Yeah.
it's just this is what an explosion looks like. This is what water looks like, and it just puts these things together. But still, you have to still tell it what to do.
I want to ask you a question I asked you last time because I love the answer. The portrait shot, man. What's the obsession with the portrait shot?
The portrait shot.
Yeah, like when people, like when artists would have the portrait shot.
Well,
You talked about how like we didn't have mirrors back in the day.
okay.
That
Well,
was,
I mean, I did.
and like you
talk
talked about like how the selfie had this ego.
Well, you know, the self portrait is one thing. I mean, you know, people want to see themselves. That's usually the very first subject that you get introduced to. You know, when you're drawing from reference, you don't always get to like stare at another person. You know, you're the only person you have. So you look in the mirror and it's like, oh, you can use your face as reference to study how the eye looks, how the nose looks, you know, the shape of the whatever. You're using your own anatomy to study. But then like, and you got to look at yourself. So when you look at yourself, you're only seeing certain angles of yourself. You know, you can't see the back of your head. You can't, you know, you usually always look in a way where it's within this range of view that you see your own face.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you look at yourself, you tend to micro adjust yourself to look a certain way to feel more flattering in the angle that you are. But then that has, you know, with portrait photography, I can just set it up and I'm just like, all right, it's going off every 5 seconds. All right, look this way. And it's just like, I just hope that it got something good. I have no idea. I just know that I have it going off every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
There's no one directing me. I'm sort of directing myself. But then now with cell phones, the camera is like built on there and you get the immediate feedback of seeing yourself. So people tend to like move it around in a way to kind of like show themselves in a more flattering way, like this angle here. So you have like a defined jawline and like the lighting, it hits your eyes and you can see, you know, you put a filter on even, you know, and it really changes your perception of yourself in a way that hasn't been done before, because before you'd have to wait like a week or something for the film to even develop if you even caught yourself in the frame, you know. But like now this thing is, it's the camera and the monitor all at once. You get the instant feedback. It does something to your mind, I think, and then people are like shooting videos for like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and they're making selfie videos of them talking. It's just like, I sent a video to a friend who is a filmmaker, and like, is this filmmaking? Like,
Is it?
you're shooting yourself. I mean, I'd like to say no. We're
Say
like,
it,
we
say
get
it,
like
yeah.
elite about it. It's like there's a certain level that has to be, maintained in the standard of what cinema is. But like shooting yourself on a selfie is not cinema. I mean, it could be if you put it in the right context. Like, say, a character that's doing a selfie and that's the scene or something. That's okay. But like, but people, I don't know, that
You
can be,
dislike it.
that I just have to like learn to appreciate it in the right context. Like, there's
Wow,
also
yeah.
Vine videos that was a thing for a while. It's like you get like 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, but they're able to put together these like really funny little skits or like pieces of information that are very effective. But like, I'm just like, still, I just wrote my friends like, is this filmmaking? Like, I don't know. It's like, it's challenging what I think filmmaking
What you
is.
know of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like short form filmmaking.
I mean, you're somebody who like
it's
went to Da
vertical.
Vinci, like Leonardo da Vinci school,
Sure.
art school. You've gone through art school, so I guess
Well,
it challenges.
One of the principles in Da Vinci is sfumato. The word is sfumato, which
How
means
do you
like
spell that?
SFM,
Hmm.
sfumato. But anyway, it means like smoke.
Tomato.
So
Is it?
sfumato.
Is
Sfumato, sfumato.
it like Italian? Do we have to say it like an Italian
Yeah, he
person?
was Italian, so I guess that's it. Sfumato.
Go for it.
Sfumato. And it just means like smoke, which is really essentially talking about to be adaptive. You're always flowing with it. You're not just being rigid. Smoke fills every space. It adapts into the form. Like that thing that Bruce Lee says, like, oh, you put water in a cup, it becomes a cup. You put it becomes a kettle. You put it into a pitcher, it becomes a pitcher. So whatever you put the water in, it takes the shape of that object. And water can flow or it can crash. Like,
Tao
you
says
can drink it or you can drown in it.
Tao says that too. Taoism.
No doubt.
Maybe that Taoism. Yeah, it's spelled with a T, but is it Taoism?
Yeah, it's like I heard it's Tao.
Tao. No, say yeah.
Yeah, sure, I get you.
No. Okay, Taoism. Taoism has that philosophy. Water can uncover treasures, or it can also
bury them. Yeah, right. So everything is really just
so wait, what is this?
A potential energy. Sfumato is just to be like smoke, to move and to adapt. And not
so you mean in
static.
terms of the art?
So it's a way, a mindset to adapt, to be adaptive. So for me, it's like, is this filmmaking? It's just like,
you can hear it in yourself.
I can embrace like this. I mean, I do like this art form more. It's again, so now it's a matter of taste. How do you want to present yourself? All right, I want to make Vine videos or TikTok videos. Oh, I want to make more cinematic, theater.
Well, it was like when we started, I said, "Oh, Dewey, we can get started, but this table looks so messy." And you were like, "No, actually,
I like it like this."
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly. So that's how you want to present yourself. And then I was like, "All right, so that's in. It's like an in thing." Yeah.
Well, like it's like the question you asked me the last time we were here. It wasn't recording, but like, oh, how do you deal with obstacles like walls? Like, what if you run into a wall? It's like, well, is it still a wall or is it a canvas or is
I think when your right hand was injured and you kind of got into moves, and that was
figure out things. It's like the sfumato approach to it, which is like it's like smoke. It's like you have to change your perspective on what it is. It's like it's no longer a wall. It's a canvas. It's something else. It's a wall to like bounce ideas off of. And this is like paint. We're painting right now the podcast, and it's just this is what happens when you create this experience.
It's a bit raw, and we're just getting into
and we're just going. So, but if you want to be all straight with like the cables and everything neat, then
you
sure,
can. It's really difficult.
You can, but then we'd probably be here a lot longer and go on details that don't really matter to the experience for the audience. We're just going with the flow, making it work. But at some point, it's going to be packed up anyway, so it doesn't matter. This is part of the experience.
I did like a video of like hiking, and it was just like this. It felt like a mess to me, but the person who was there said, I think that's what people are finding themselves enjoying these days, like the rawness, the messiness of these vlogs. And I was like, all right, man, all right.
I'd like to do that more too. I mean, it's just, but then nowadays it's kind of like scary sometimes. Like, what if I say the wrong thing? You sort of like have to police your own thoughts or your own speech sometimes because of like certain people that may be watching. I don't know. Sometimes I can't help having that part of my mind being back there because of how
And what
things
about
have
all the
been.
beautiful and wonderful things you could say?
I mean, I like to think that the thing.
Want more of Preach with Prak? How about you go ahead and subscribe to our Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprak.com. Here I'll provide you a weekly message to guide you throughout the week and check in with you with a wellness questionnaire. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe to Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprak.com.